You can take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
A couple of artists on this list of country artists who up and quit have been spotted in years since, but over half just up and vanished after telling fans they'd had enough.
Rest in peace, Bobbie Gentry.
Wait, she died?
I have no idea, because nobody's really seen or heard from her in like 30 years. I mean, she'd be 80 if she was still living. I guess I'm just trying to play it safe.
Okay, well there are no confirmed deaths on this list of 10 artists who quit. I'm Addison Hager with Billy Dukes, and do you want to begin this time?
Garth Brooks quit on us once. It was October 26, 2000, when during a party to celebrate selling 100 million albums, Garth said he was retiring to stay at home to raise his 3 daughters. A couple of weeks later, he filed for divorce from his wife Sandy. This wasn't as shocking as it seems, as 1 year earlier, he'd pretty much told fans that was his plan during an appearance on Crook and Chase. For 9 years, he kept a relatively low profile until a 2009 chance to play a residency in Las Vegas lured him back to the stage. For the last 15 years or so, he's more or less been fully active. His kids are all grown now, so he did what he set out to do.
At number 8 is Barbara Mandrell, who quit so hard that she literally sold all her instruments. It happened in October 1997 because she wanted to focus on raising her son, who was in high school. Barbara was a huge star in the 1980s and 90s and the first woman to win back-to-back CMA Entertainer of the Year awards. We did an entire video on her disappearing act that I'll link to in the corner and description, so subscribers know how we underappreciate her contributions, but if you're new and you're a fan, I encourage you to tap subscribe and check out that video. Until recently, Barbara remained off stages, but now you'll find her singing on occasion. It's far short of a comeback, however.
There's also a secret history video about why Bobbie Gentry quit, in which we kind of concluded she'd just had enough and didn't feel she owed us a dang thing. Her last known appearance came at the ACM Awards in 1982, where she didn't win or perform. At that time, she was still a great draw in Las Vegas, but afterwards she quietly canceled everything on her schedule and slipped away. She was only 39 at the time, but had built an impressive business empire, including partial ownership of the Phoenix Suns NBA team. Here is the last known public picture of her that she agreed to. No note, no farewell tour, nothing. There are a few things we'd love more than an answer to her mystery, but it's not looking likely.
These next artists did leave a note of sorts, as did several others on this list.
Number 1 left via lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken.
You're jumping ahead, Billy.
Gone for the day and gone for the night and gone for the rest of your doggone life.
On November 1st, 2015, Chris Cagle retired with this post on Facebook. He was transitioning to an offstage life that included being a father and husband, and while a few years later, he teased a comeback, it really never materialized. Like the song, Cagle was gone for good. Good and gone with the long before it.
I see what you did there.
I figured you enjoy that.
Spoiler alert, a secret history on this next guy's disappearance is coming very soon, and frankly, it's stunning. Subscribe if you were a big Ricky Van Shelton fan. I'm just gonna focus on the quitting today. It came with a very formal letter on May 3rd, 2006. Country Standard Time nabbed it, link in the description section. He more or less moved back to Virginia to be a family man, canceling all of his touring dates as he did it. Since then, we've heard nothing from him, and that's significant. Ricky Van Shelton was a big deal in the late 80s and early 90s. He had about a dozen #1 hits and was the Male Vocalist of the Year 1 year. I think an equivalent would be if, like, Chris Young just disappeared today.
Here is a more contemporary artist who quit.
This one makes me sad.
Hannah Mullholland checked out of country trio Runaway June as the pandemic began.
Yeah, I can buy my own drinks tonight.
She's not hard to find, however. Music isn't really her thing anymore. Instead, she's making art and selling it on Etsy. And she's also taking care of her baby and honestly, just living a good life. Naomi Cook would also leave Runaway June, but to go on for a solo career. That leaves Jennifer Wayne as the group's lone original member.
I was a big fan of Hannah's. She was so kind. One of the greatest voices of a generation retired in 2011. That's Linda Ronstadt, and while her music reached beyond country, she was an icon. Sadly, an illness first diagnosed as Parkinson's made it impossible for her to perform. Now she says she has progressive supranuclear palsy, a condition that has caused her to lose motor controls of her vocal cords. Eating is a big challenge, she shares. Linda's last concert was in 2009.
And the final George Strait concert was on June 7, 2014. He said he was done touring, but might play select shows here and there. He's actually stayed fairly busy with multiple shows in Las Vegas and now stadium shows nationwide. Few artists have worked harder than George Strait in retirement. He's 71 years old now and continues to dabble with new music. Add George to the list of artists on this list who just couldn't stay gone. Thumbs up this video if you're not mad about it.
In April 2023, Granger Smith announced he was retiring from music. This is the most recent and maybe the most surprising of all of these, as he was very active on the road prior to calling it quits. The reason? He became a minister at his local church near Austin, Texas. The Like a River tour was his last tour.
This is my last ever tour. I have felt a strong desire to pursue ministry. And this doesn't mean I'm going to start a church or a crusade or a revival. This means that me and my family are going to serve our local church.
Granger remains host of After Midnight, his syndicated radio program. Sadly, this means Earl Dibbles Jr. is also retired. If you know, you know.
This last one is debatable. Sugarland was originally a trio with Kristen Hall, but in January of 2006, they announced she'd left to stay home and write songs. Wide Open Country would later report that she left because she was unhappy with the band's relentless touring schedule. There were a lot of rumors and stories that never were verified in the years since, so we'll just stick to facts. And the fact is, Hall tried to sue Jennifer Nettles and Christian Bush for upward of $14 million, but they settled by 2010. The claim is Hall financed the band early on and wrote many of the songs. She felt like she deserved a third of the profits for an undetermined amount of time. Of course, within a few years of that, Sugarland had split up. Hall has continued to write and done some recording, but nothing reached mainstream success like those early Sugarland songs. I'm Addison Hager for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for subscribing.